This episode of the Neurodivergent Experience is brought to you by RTN Mental Health Solutions. With up to a 5-year waiting list for autism and ADHD assessments via the NHS, and that's even if you get a referral from your GP, getting an assessment in the UK has never been harder. So if you're like me and can't wait anymore, going private may be the best option for you. RTN offers online assessments for kids aged 6 right up to adults, with prices starting at £900. To make it more accessible, RTN can offer payment plans up to 5 months. You can access their remote services from the comfort of your home anywhere in the UK, and RTN offers group and one-to-one counselling, a private route to access ADHD medication following the assessment, and will even fight for you if your GP doesn't accept the results. So if you live in the UK and can't wait to get an assessment, go to www.rtnmentalhealthsolutions.com and use the discount code RTN23, making it even more affordable for all of our listeners to get an autism and ADHD assessment.
Hello and welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience. I'm your host, Jordan James, also known as the Autistic Photographer, and I'm joined by my co-host and very best friend, Simon Scott.
Hello! Yes, this week we are talking about materialism, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, that music is a shot in the arm, isn't it? I love it. Every time we hear it, I'm like, here we go. Yeah, come on, podcasting time.
I wasn't awake, but I'm awake now. I'm ready. Let's do this.
It does it. It really, really, really does it for me. How are you, my man? How's things?
Yeah, no, I'm all right. Just reflecting on some very interesting parts of my life recently, and just really, really looking forward to the basketball season kicking off in less than a month's time. So, yeah, just I kind of feel at that space where it's like, oh yeah, I'm between special interests, because like my ultimate special interest being basketball is like it's on hold, and the weather is just garbage fire at the moment. Even when we were in Wales and I couldn't even go out and take bloody pictures. And social media is just oh god, it's tragic.
It's weird at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just like barely using that. So to be honest, I'm actually just like watching documentaries, which I'm just like trying to get through the time until my fun starts. So I'm just watching different documentaries, which is cool. Which is why I had this idea of doing this, because I've been watching a documentary about collecting and people selling collectibles for like ridiculous amounts of money, and there is so many tisms going on in this particular program. There is just like one neurodivergent person after another saying, I've been collecting since I was 12 and now I'm 57 and look at my collection. And every time I see these people every time I see these people's collections, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yeah. Like I'm envious, but I'm also like, what? Like even I'm not like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've had this conversation with you before. Like, I love watching collectible stuff. I love watching, YouTube videos of people that have got excess amount of things, simply because it means that I can watch it without having to spend a ridiculous amount of money to take part. It's like I get, involved without having FOMO of missing out on watching people open all of this stuff. But I, like you, my friend, have gone through phases, because I'm now in my special interest time, because American football season is up and running in a big way. I've got fantasy football loaded up on my phone. I like to watch the Red Zone on Sunday when all of the games are showing at once. And I'm, one of the games was on last night. I've already watched the highlights up this morning, watched the Dallas Giants game, loved it, great game, a bit wild. And I'm in my special interest. But like August and July, dude, kill me, because nothing I'm interested is on. The wrestling's in its like down season, the NFL's in its off season, the football's in off season as well. So I feel like all of the things that I gravitate to, my interests, aren't available, which is why I play so much bloody golf in the summer, because it's really the only thing that's kind of the moment where I'm at right now. And I'm like, right, let's do this. But with special interests, obviously, comes a hint of materialism, because I like golf clubs and golf shoes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a brand new pair of golf shoes. And even though, I was at a pub quiz last night and Karis was like, we're trying to buy a house. I was like, it's fine. I want them. They're fine. I need them, even though I don't need them. But the mental arithmetic 100%. That I go through trying to convince the others around me why I should have something, even though I'm the one that is the difficult one.
It's worse with me when it comes to like t-shirts, especially basketball, like even this hoodie that I'm wearing. If you can't see it, it's a very nice pink Jordan hoodie that I got for my birthday.
Very nice.
Like that was in my basket and I was being really good and like, no, I don't need it. I've got enough hoodies. I do not need it. And then Sylvia bought it for me for my birthday, that's how it should be. Like I was like, yeah, well, okay, that's cool. And she's like, no, he really wants it. So I was not expecting it at all. And I absolutely love it. It's a lovely hoodie. But I bought another Celtics t-shirt. But it's Sylvia's fault. It's Sylvia's fault, because I basically was looking at them and I was like, oh, look at this one. And she's like, oh, that's really nice. And then I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to buy that. It's ridiculous. It's on sale, which makes it even more difficult for me to not buy. But it's like, I do not need it, dude. I have so many t-shirts and I have so many hoodies. I have so many jerseys and I have so many pairs of Jordans, or so many pairs of just like trainers in general, including, I love it. My Shaq Reebok pumps. They're so cool. Yeah. It's such a cool thing to own.
Classy, old school pair of trainers, especially if you're like a connoisseur of trainers and ball as well. They're a staple shoe to have as a part of a basketball fans collection. Definitely.
I get approached every time I wear them. Every single time I wear them. I could wear Jordans all day long. People are like, oh, it's a pair of Jordans.
I'm like that with my Masters hat.
Yeah, but I'll wear those Shaqs, and then people are like, "Wow, they're so cool." Like, yeah, because they're so out there. They're so 90s. They're so bulky. But yeah, it's and then Sylvia's like, "Oh, no, it's really nice. So you're going to buy it? You're going to buy it? You're going to buy it?" And I'm like, well, "You're the one that's meant to be helping me with this, not encouraging me." She's like, "Yeah, but it's really nice." And you love the Celtics. I'm like, yeah, I know I love the Celtics. And then last night, obviously, I'm watching like basketball build up, and it was just like, and then I bought it and I was like, whatever, but it keeps happening. And like I said, with this TV show I was watching, a lot of these people did remind me of me, not to the extent, and I'm not an in the box guy. I'm like a rip the box, where's that box gone type of guy. For me, it's never about collecting to sell. It's just collecting to display. And because I like pretty little things, and it's that hit of dopamine each time you open a package, each time you open a box, each time you purchase something, there's a hit of dopamine. And I'm sitting around at the moment, especially, and I'm bored. And I'm bored, and I'm literally listing all the things like, okay, this is good in my life, and this is good in my life, and everything's going well, everything's all right. I'm bored though, and I need that hit of dopamine, and my phone's there, and I'm like, go away,
yeah, it's the worst thing to be near when you're bored.
Oh god, yeah, no, it's bad. It is bad. So that's the bad thing for me, isn't the fact that I own these things. It's the fact that I keep having to fight myself constantly to stop buying more, because I don't need any. I don't even want it. I don't want the things anymore. I've got nowhere to display them. I've got nowhere to put them. My cupboards are full. They're literally spilling out. I just don't even have any more room for any of this stuff. But yet there I am going, oh, I buy more.
Convincing yourself dopamine in, and
it's just pure dopamine.
Yeah, so let's go through it, man. We'll do the good and the bad and the ugly. So with materialism, for me, the good of what I think I'm good at with it, but it also has good positive effects, is I am the sort of person who, rather than going, I will have 6, 7, 8 of something, but different variants of it. So you know how you'll have your Celtics tops. Everyone's a little bit different, but I imagine most of them are Celtic green with the logo and things like that. Whereas I seem to research something for ages and ages and ages, and I will find good value. I will find the right version, the right edition. I will almost get dopamine from the research of finding something that I want. And then I just buy it. As an example, I've bought a watch. I am not a watch person. I don't own lots of watches, but I am a big aviation enthusiast. I'm a historian enthusiast, and World War II is one of my special interests. So I've bought a watch that commemorates an American airman ace in World War II, and it's got parts from a plane in it and all of this sort of thing. It ticks so many boxes of dopamine for me. I was like, go. No reason not to get it.
It's very nice.
Whereas I'm over the moon with it. I can't wait for it to come. And it's very, very rare I will do that, where I will just drop, 250, 300 quid on an item that I don't need, but I want. It's not very often that I feel a want of something. I do often talk myself out of things very, very easily. And I am very easily influenced by people around me that go, do you really need that? And I then do the research against myself and go, do I really need that? And then before you know it, I don't have it. And, going back to the positives, it is nice to have that dopamine fix of feeding yourself. And it's also really nice to treat yourself. One of the reasons as to why I've bought this watch is we've done our live event, and it's a big milestone for me. It's a big milestone for this podcast. And I wanted to commemorate it with something of going, well, I bought that during that moment at that time. And it's almost like a historical moment in my life where I can go, I was there at that time when I bought that thing. Happy memories all round.
Genuinely surprised you didn't get a tattoo.
Not yet, but this is something I was about to move on to. Tattoos are also that thing for me. They are almost like bookmarks in my story. When I was first getting into tattoos, I did a lot of reading, and from like your Russian prison tattoos and their meanings and how they're almost like scarification of your story on your body, to like Maui with like family and tradition and ancestry. And so I've kind of built my ADHD coloring book of my tattoos. They do tell a story. There's little moments of little things throughout my life across my body. So for me, the good thing about materialism is it's a little bit like a museum of me. I was here when I got that. I was here when I've got that, because I don't buy lots of different things of one thing. Although we'll get on to when I have done that. But the good thing is, I feel like when I'm into something, I research it, I learn loads about it, and then I buy something to almost commemorate my interest in that. And then I kind of tap out. That is the good thing with me, with materialism. I know when I've got enough.
Yeah, no, I only know when I've got enough, because like literally I can't find anywhere to put stuff. And I have so many of these ridiculous collections, and it's almost like a drug in a weird way. And of course, like the perfect example is our orangutan behind me. Like the first thing that I wanted as merchandise for this show was literally a handmade bespoke orangutan cuddly toy, because it's like, oh, it's a cuddly toy. And for my birthday, I was given 2 more cuddly toys, a Mario and a Goomba. And Sylvia's face, she's just like, oh, because the thing is that t-shirts, she likes t-shirts. Trainers, she's literally researching trainers. I'm like, I don't need them. She's like, oh, the new Tatums look nice. And I'm like, yes, they do. And she's like, are you going to get them? I'm like, no, stop this.
I might now.
You devil woman. I can't.
Like the siren song for shoes.
Literally, and she'll be the first person to complain. I don't have any space for my shoes, your shoes. But then she's like, oh, do you want these ones? These ones look nice. And I'm like, oh my God.
Because she knows it makes you happy. That's why.
But she loves them too. That's the point. If it was that, then I'd have way more cuddly toys, because cuddly toys make me the most happy. And I just have a ridiculous amount. And eventually they end up in the loft, or I will give them to other people. But there are some that I will just hold on to and keep, and it does everywhere I go when I go and do photography. So I got this little fella in. If obviously no one can see it, ha ha ha, go and watch. But it's a little stag. Well, technically it's an elk. But yeah, he's my little elk, and I got him from Canada. And in America, I bought a Bigfoot cuddly toy, and in Wales, I bought a Welsh dragon at the top of Snowdon. And in when I went up north, I got a Chester. My Chester giraffe from Chester Zoo, and yeah, like you with your tattoos, they like to commemorate my trip. So apparently, my photography that I take isn't enough. I have to get a cuddly toy, and obviously in Scotland, I got a Highland cow, and you know, it's whatever. In New Zealand, I got a kiwi. You know, it's kind of obvious. It's wherever I go, I have to have something to commemorate that particular place. I mean, guess what I got in Switzerland?
Oh, what did you get in Switzerland?
It's a cow.
Of course,
it's a cow. And it's got a little bell. But I gave that to my new mum. So you know, it's not that I keep everything. I have to buy it because like it's that moment. But yeah, it is. With the cuddly toys, it's not so much the dopamine fix of buying it. It is the dopamine fix of cuddling and having that weird companionship that I have with cuddly toys, being a 43-year-old man. And I couldn't care less what people think of that. I don't ever care, really. And I sleep with a cuddly toy, as I've discussed before, and his name is Mr. Fox. And it's just random. It is random because he's just the one that I decide to sleep with. And obviously I have Pooh Bear, who I take everywhere with me, all around the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of different things. I have an entire collection of He-Man figures. I have pop characters. Over 100 pop characters. Some of them are actually worth a lot of money. I just recently found out. But then I only bought them for $10 and they're worth like hundreds. And I'm like, where's that box again?
Yeah.
I know I have the boxes. But like I have a Captain Picard that's worth over £100. I only paid a tenner for it, but I'm like, I'm never going to sell that. It's my Captain Picard.
Yeah, I'm not of the ilk of that. It's like I have a friend who introduced me to somebody, and he was like, "Oh, you guys will get on because you're both like trainers." And I had a little chat with him for about 5 minutes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, shoes." And he instantly went, "How many have you got?" Which already made me go like, "I'm not going to enjoy this conversation." But he was like, "How many have you got?" with a little smirk on his face. I was like, to be honest, mate, I think I've got like 12 pairs of shoes if you count my golf shoes. And he was like, "Oh,
you're a disappointment."
I've got like, yeah, but he was like, "Oh, I've got like 50 just here, and you should see how many I've got at my parents' house." But the thing is like, he showed me a couple of his shoes, and the first 2 pairs of shoes he showed me were like both over £1,000.
Yeah,
and just like,
don't get it. I don't get it,
bro. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
The thing is like, I have to wear them. It's like I'm looking at a pair of golf shoes that are £200, but I'll use them. And the reason as to why I'm looking at a £200 pair of shoes is I'm very much of the school of thought of buy cheap, buy twice.
I was going to say it's because you don't have children.
Yeah. Yeah, that as well.
If I didn't have children, I'd have so much more stuff.
But there you go. Maybe this. Imagine how much I'll have when I have kids. I'll just be in it like a potato sack. But yeah, it's like I'm of that school of thought of buy cheap, buy twice. It's like Caris was like, I'm thinking of getting a raincoat, and I was like, if you're gonna get a raincoat, spend £100. She was like, oh, but I was like, well, go in the sale, find a coat that was £350 and pay £200 for it. Because in my head, I'm like, I've got something way more expensive than I normally have, and I've paid less for it. That's always my goal is like getting something for the highest value and paying the least amount of money for it. And yeah, I know a lot of people that will go, oh, I'd rather spend £150 in Primark than £150 on one item. And I totally get it, but I get this like overwhelming feeling of going, well, if I don't use it, it's a waste of money. So I just get like in a limbo with it where I'm like, oh, I can't spend money because if I don't use it, I don't, and then I just don't end up getting stuff.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, I have had my moments of just buying the most ridiculous amounts of things, but obviously when I have kids, when I have them, when when I had younger
Take them back.
kids, yeah, I would just use them as an excuse to buy toys. So I'd be like, oh, I've bought this entire collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with like all the extras and all this for my son. And really, I wanted them, but I was like, I'm like living vicariously through my children because I'm like, no, I'm an adult. Because I was masking a lot back then. I was like, no, I'm an adult. I don't have toys. And then I was like, but my kids do. Look, I'm not the one watching SpongeBob. My kids are, and I'm watching it with them. And then the kids are like, can we watch that? I'm like, no, we're watching SpongeBob. This is the great that or Johnny Bravo. It was like this is the Dexter's Lab, all this stuff. Love cartoons, but back then I was like, no, I'm a man and I don't do. I did this is not.
Yeah, I've had my moments with that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I was struggling a lot in that sense, but the problem with giving things to Simon is he was way too young for them, and he flipping lost and broke. And oh, dude, it's just honestly, I'm still like massively regretting giving him my original Buzz Lightyear, the first Buzz Lightyear in the country to be purchased ever. And I had it, I have it, and it's just trashed. It's like missing bits of plastic, and oh, it's just rubbish. And it's, you know, I've still got it, but oh, I hate my son, and I'll always hate him just for that particular reason.
So
how dare you be a child?
Yeah, so yes, the bad side of materialism, kids ruin everything. No,
no, just my son,
just young Simon, bless him. So you know we've covered a little bit, but the bad side of materialism, definitely for me, is when the magic wears off. I had a big period about a year ago when I was really starting to unmask, and I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh cards because my God, did I love collecting them when I was a kid, and was watching guys on YouTube who were buying tens of thousands of pounds worth of packs of cards,
mind-blowing,
and just opening them. And dude, I was addicted to watching these videos of people open like old school collectors boxes, and you know they're opening packs of cards that I used to go to the shop and buy for like £3 and like £300, and you know people are making shows of it, and there's like one guy online who does it with Pokemon cards who's really entertaining. But blow me, dude, what a waste of money it was, because when you're buying packs of 7 chasing one shiny card and then you don't even get the one that you want, I have got a box of cards that are never going to get used, never going to get looked at, because they're just the naff filler ones. A huge cardboard box. And I just went, that is such a waste.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a waste of stuff, of such a waste of money. And when I went to a event, because I bought them to play with, and I did lots of research in building my deck and getting the right amounts of the certain cards that I needed and the spell cards and all this sort of stuff, went really deep into it and got good at it. You know, I'm playing online and playing the online versions, and I'm high up, and I thought, this is my new hobby now. I love this. I'm going to go meet some like-minded people. I went to the locals event, and within 10 to 15 seconds, the guy opposite me, he's like, no, that's not how it works. No, you're not doing that. And he's like picking up my cards and messing with them. And I'm like, ugh. So I didn't like that. And then I was opposite another guy where I was playing with him. And I went, oh, have you done this before? And he was like, actually, I've been the UK champion in the last couple of years. And his deck, dude, every single card was the rarest version that you could get. And the first card that he put down was worth at least 300 quid. And something in my brain just went, I'm out. I'm done. Because not for me.
Because he probably paid that for it. That's the thing about these sorts of card games, is that it's almost like cheating, because people will spend ridiculous amounts of money just so they can tell you, I'm the UK champion of a card game. Whoop-de-flipping-do for you. Well done. You bought your victory, just like Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, there's not been working for him recently.
Nope.
But nope. But it switched off, and I used to spend an hour every week rearranging my collectibles in my favourite thing, and I bet I've not opened it in months and months and months. And I've now got a deck of cards, and there's some cards in there that are worth, or at the time were worth like 40 quid, 50 quid, some were even 80 to 100. And now I just feel like I've got 400 quid sat on my desk that I'm avoiding selling or avoiding getting around to doing something with. And it's bugging the hell out of me because I am somebody that looks at stuff and goes, oh, that's good value, or that's bad value, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at it now and I just feel like I've burnt a hole in my pocket and I've just wasted my time. And yeah, I just feel like I've now got that task in my head to go and get rid of these cards. And the feeling that I get around it, I feel guilty for spending money on something. I feel guilty for wasting it because I'm like, oh, somebody else could have enjoyed these. Somebody else could have had these. And I don't want to bin them. It's the last thing that I want to do because then I feel like it's even worse of a waste. So I'm now just stuck with this thing that's taking up space. And every time I look at it, it makes me feel a bit crap.
Yeah, no, I and that for me is also the bad side of it. It's the taking up space. But the thing is that I have like a whole load of collectible toys, right? So I've got He-Man figures, I've got original Thundercat figures, which is actually
Thundercats.
Yeah, I bought a whole box of them at a car boot sale for like $5, and I was like, you do not know what you're selling me. Thank you very much. So I got an entire box of like Thundercats, and I've got Turtles, and I've got in the box pristine Ghostbuster.
You got Goblet. What are those things called?
Oh yeah, I've got my Boglins and
Boglins. That's it. I'd never seen them until I came around yours. I couldn't stop looking at them.
They're
very
so
cool.
cool. You should have had a little play with them. They're like rubbery. They're really cute.
I didn't know whether I could take them out the box.
Yeah, man. I don't do box. The only reason why they're in a box is because their box is their home. Like it's actually a cage. Like it actually has a little plastic thing. You literally lift up the cage and you can pull them out of the cage. The only reason why they're in the box is because it's a cage and it's part of the thing.
Yeah, but can you not see how like instinctively I was like, don't take them out of the box, don't touch them.
No,
because so many people are like, that's gonna be worth £300-400 in 5 years. Like, do you remember when the couple got divorced in the 90s and they all had to separate the Beanie Babies out because they thought they were sat on like an S&P 500 investment fund or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I mean, again with the Beanie Babies, like if it makes you happy and it's cool, then fine. But like people spend like $10,000 on a Beanie Baby. I'm like, why? See, this is what I will never ever be, and this is very lucky I will never ever be this, is that even though I like to buy lots of things and I like to own lots of things, I will never spend a ridiculous amount of money on anything. I'm not the person that will go, I'm going to go to a Michelin star restaurant so I can have a very, very tiny plate of food for 10 times more than I'd go if I went to like a burger joint. I would much rather have like a burger for like, I don't know, 12, 13 quid at a pub with chips and a pint, straight into spoons. Like honestly, it as long as it tastes good, and I'm not fussy with food as long as it's got plenty of flavor. But I just these micro. I don't like fluff. Like to me, that's just fluff, and it's pretentious fluff. And that for me is what these like ridiculous collectibles that are owned by these like, millionaires and billionaires. Like I said, there was a guy who literally owned, like on this TV show, so many jerseys. And I'm like, yeah, I've got loads of jerseys. And they're all game-worn, signed jerseys. There was a Jordan one. It was $10 million. $10 million. That could feed so many people. That could save so many animals. That could help so many people. 10 million. And he's just got it on a hanger, just like me, in my cupboard. But my Jordan jersey cost me £35. And it's worth a lot less because I've been wearing it while playing basketball because that's what you're supposed to do with a jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, the rage that you rang me up in the other day when you were like, Logan Paul spent how much on a Pokemon card?
$5
I was like,
million.
Oh, hey, dude, how's it going? You okay? And you were like, you literally picked up the phone, $5 million effing dollars. I was like, what? What's going on?
For a piece of card with some ink on. It's like, come on, people, perspective. In this world of materialism, what I do, I think, is extreme with over 100 pop characters. But I've never, ever bought a special edition, rare, off the shelf, like no longer available. Like my Balrog is worth a lot of money, but I paid £15 for it. If my Balrog, which is my favorite pop character, apart from my giant Michael Jordan, my Balrog is, I think it's like 60, 70 quid. I would never spend 60 or 70 quid on a pop, and I love it. It's my favorite pop character, and I would still never spend 60 or 70 quid on that pop character, because to me, that's crazy. But if it makes other people happy, then it makes them happy. And this was the discussion, because to me, this is the ugly side of it. Is it's not the collecting, it's the amount spent on the collecting. But it's like there was a comic book, $2 million. There is a card, a baseball card, $50 million.
Wow. How do you even put a value on something
on a
like
baseball
that?
card? And you're just like, I really, really dislike super mega rich people that will do something like that. There are people out there with lots of money who help people, who start charities. We were talking about Jaylen Brown, the Celtics basketball player. He just started a charity to help youths in like the Boston area that are, like they're being forgotten about, and he's pumping loads of money, and he, obviously he's a millionaire. He's a basketball player who's very, very good.
Yeah,
but he's not a billionaire. He wouldn't buy a Jordan jersey for 10 million. Like that. It's so ridiculous. It's just to me it's ugly, because all I can think is that material can save lives. Like if like my pop characters, if I sold them all, I'm not saving anyone's life.
No, you're not moving the needle, are you?
No, but if I have a card that's worth 50 million, I'm selling that, and I'm not spending that on me. I'm like, I don't need that much money. That much money makes me feel sick that anybody can have that much money and not use it. Because I personally would use it to spend on saving wild animals. Like, like animals are going extinct every single day because of humans. We are killing other animals. And for me, it's like, well, we should have a responsibility that if we have that much money, we should be trying to save them, because it's people who have that much money, who have the biggest impact on the world. They're the ones that are destroying things, because it's all led on money. Us encroaching on other animals' territories and forcing them.
It's profit, isn't it?
It's just, some of it's survival. Some of it is like people just trying to survive, but the reason they're in survival mode is because they are kept poor. So they're just trying to live their lives. They're trying to survive. And that's because the mega rich are not helping them out, because there's no balance.
Yeah, I was reading something literally the other day about the rate of tiger killings in India is at an all-time high.
Oh, don't. It makes me really sad.
No, because it's tigers are killing people.
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't mind that.
But no, they're making them part of their diet.
Yeah, that's
simply
fine.
because, and they're now starting to watch people, and they can now tell who's armed, who's not armed, because people are now encroaching so deeply into their territory that they are actively becoming part of the food chain. It was just a really interesting thing you read about,
Why do you send me that article? No, the thing is, I'm like, obviously it's terrible that the tigers are killing people, but the reason it's happening is not. And the worst thing is, the people that get eaten are going to be relatively poor people.
Oh, poor people. Yeah.
But it's the rich people that are causing the tigers to do that, because the rich people are keeping the poor people poor. Therefore, they're having to live their lives in the fact that they're doing that, and the rich people don't care. and the rich people aren't helping out. So yeah, if I had my 50 million for a bloody baseball card, that's what I do. I mean, I would immediately just go and help lots of tigers being the absolute favorite thing in the whole world for me. I love tigers. In fact, I'm being looked at by a tiny one named Zeus right now. He's looking at me. I have a tiny tiger. And he's a Maine Coon, so he's pretty big. He is literally the size of a small tiger, like a baby tiger. He's huge. But yeah, that is definitely an ugly side of the world of materialism. Is it's not just collecting, it's just greed and holding on to things, and it's putting so much value on an object, on a thing, over animals, us and wild animals,
and profit over people. Yeah,
and to me, it's like I look at Buckingham Palace. Right, that's a thing. It's a building. It's a thing. Yes, it is a monument. Yes, it is. Brings in tourism, but essentially, it's a thing.
It's a big house.
It's a big fecking house. I have thought this ever since I was a kid, and I saw so many homeless people in London, and I literally remember saying to my dad, "What? There's a lot of rooms, and only the Queen and her staff live there." And he's like, "Yep." And I was like, "But what about all those homeless people?" And he went, "Yep." And ever since then, I was like, well, why don't they just get the homeless people to live in Buckingham Palace? It's like, oh, you can't. Yeah, it's a massive house. Bloody help people, especially veterans or beaten women who, like, I honestly, I saw you could have made it into like a refuge for like abused women, suffering abuse, and it's like, oh, you could make that a refuge. There's so many things you could do with that massive building, but no, it just people stand around it. And
first counter argument is, well, who's going to pay for it? Is the first thing that people will
take money off the royal family and pay for it with that. All the money that was go to the royal family, they can pay for it because they have all the money. And it's like, well, and this is the thing, is that we are expected to give to charity. If a lot of people do. I'm very selective with the charities I ever give to. But we don't have their money. Now, I'm not saying that rich people don't give to charity, but I will never understand how someone can be that rich and buy like a painting for like £100 million, and you just
to own, just to be in your downstairs bathroom. You're like, oh, it's Picasso, just as you're having a tinkle.
It's purely just to show off. It is purely
it's clout. It's just
purely
ego,
to show off, and it is gross.
That's the ugly side of materialism for me as well. Is what I was going to say is you aren't your things. It's like I drive my little Yaris, and the amount of times I get German cars fly up behind me or big expensive cars, and I'm like, it's still got four wheels. But yeah, and that's, it's like I've had it before where like when I used to live in London, I used to work in Soho, and the amount of people that I used to see walk past wearing Travis Scott trainers, and everybody all had the same one, and they're all like £1,000. And I was like, what's the point? What's the point of spending £1,000 on a pair of trainers if you're going to go outside and see another 10 of them? Like, if I'm going to spend £1,000 on something, I don't want to ever see anybody else wearing it. I just want to be like, yeah, that's for me. That's my thing. And I don't get why people want to look or have the same as other people. It's like the Fiat 500 thing. I was talking to Caris. I was like, oh, maybe you'll get a car. She's like, I want a Fiat 500. And instantly in my brain, I just went, don't be basic.
Everyone's got one.
Don't just have copy and but don't just have copy and paste opinions. It's like when I see people and they go, oh, I've got that, or I've got that. And it's like, do you have it because you're afraid of not having it, or do you have it because you want it? And that is the ugly side for me. It's when you just have. It's like, I only buy stuff I want. And I don't buy stuff because other people have got it. It's like, if I'm buying gym shoes, I'm not going to look at what everybody else is wearing and going, oh, if I don't buy those, then I'm going to be viewed as an idiot or not fit in or ostracized. I never think that about stuff. I think that about like personality, but never do that about stuff.
That is a really interesting point, because I'll go to the gym and I'll see people wearing like really expensive gear, and I'm like,
the Gymshark
you're
crew.
in a gym. So I'm wearing like God knows jogging bottoms or shorts.
Oh, I wear my raggedy ass stuff when I'm in the gym because I'm sweating and it's gross.
And I'll wear my absolute like fake Turkey market jerseys. Like they're the like I've got like three like official jerseys, official copies, and then just like literally market jobbies. And I'll wear my market jobbies to the gym, because why? Like, it's the gym. Like, you should be there to work out. And the amount of people I just see standing. There was a guy that was wearing like a cap and a hoodie and jeans and on a bench, and I'm like, what's that about? Happening?
Dude, there was such a running joke. When I first moved to Manchester, I live in an area called Ancoats, which is apparently quote unquote trendy. But during COVID, the Aldi in Ancoats, the middle aisle, everyone was like, that's Paris Fashion Week, because that's where people were buying things and debuting them. Like, the amount of times I remember, dude, I went to Aldi and I'm wearing a face mask and I've not washed my hair that week, and I was a grotty boy. And I walked past this girl and she had heels on, like leather jeans, and she had a Louis Vuitton furry jacket.
What's that?
And well, it's just like a big fleecy furry sort of like a teddy coat.
Louis
Vuitton, yeah, Louis V, very expensive apparently.
Is that like Gucci?
Yeah, it's in that sort of world.
Okay,
and I was kind of like, love, you're looking at discounting things in the middle aisle of Aldi. Like, you're literally looking at 3 garden pots for £4.
Yeah, but most of those
wearing
things,
thousands of pounds worth of clobber.
Most of those things are probably fake. I mean, when we went to Turkey, you go into all the shops, you can buy Jordan, you can buy Gucci, what's the other one? Hugo Boss, all these types of things. And the thing about it in Turkey, like most of the time, stuff is actually good quality, but you know, they've just stuck the label on, and then you're like, it's a lot cheaper.
It depends how important it is to you, isn't it?
Well, I mean, somebody close to me said recently that they wanted juicy trousers with
juicy couture.
Juicy couture. I don't know. I'm so old. Anyway, juicy, and I was like, Isn't that for chavs? And she went, yeah, that's in. And I was like, okay, I'll get that for you then. Like, I don't have an issue like going, oh, well, if that makes you happy, that makes you happy. But if, you know, because it was like 30 quid for the trousers, 30 quid for the top, it's like 60 quid. That's an outfit. That's fine. Like that's less than I'd pay for Jordan stuff. And I'm like, that's fine. But if it was like £2,000 for a pair of jogging bottoms, I'd be like, no.
Oh, dude, no. I remember there was a kid that was in the student halls with me, and he spent the entirety of his first term's money on a Gucci coat and then had to drop out of school because he ran out of money. Remember it vividly. And he was like, oh, look at my coat. I was like, you could have just got that in Turkey for like 40 quid. Because I don't get the whole big labels thing. I see like the couture look and like high fashion. Don't get me wrong, I like Lady Gaga and I see what she wears and I'm like, that's amazing. But I ain't ever gonna wear something like that, am I? It's like I look at like
there. I love myself some Gaga, but that is literally
that's
Gaga.
What I mean. yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, there are wrestlers that I like that the whole thing with wrestling is you turn your personality up to 11. So you'll see people wearing extravagant high fashion when they come into the ring and stuff. I mean, blimey, Logan Paul wore his Pokemon card around his neck when he came to the ring at SummerSlam. Whatever makes you happy. But I see like all this high fashion stuff where you go to Selfridges and you see trainers that are like $1,000, $2,000 or pounds or whatever. But what makes me laugh is it's like Gucci's version of an Air Force One. It's like they will be the high label brand, and then they'll try and make a version of something that the OG version's like 40, 50 quid. I mean, Margiela are an Italian trainer company. It's very, very popular with like rappers and things like that. And their main shoe is a rip-off of an Adidas shoe that used to be supplied to the army. That's
about right, yeah.
What?
Yeah, it
makes no sense.
It's like when I heard about Bench, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
Bench, and they went, yeah, it's a really good band, and I went, no, that's something you sit on in a park. That's what a bench is, and you think that's a cool name for a brand? I'm like, yeah, whatever. What? If it makes you happy and it makes other people, because I've never ever bought a pair of Jordans or bought a basketball hoodie or anything like that for anyone else in the world except me. That is it. And people go, oh, I don't like that. I go, but you're not wearing it, so why do I care?
Yeah.
Like I don't get dressed up for other people. I don't own a suit. I do not own a suit, and because I absolutely hate being smart. I have shirts that Sylvia made me buy, and I've got trousers, and I've got things that you could put together. I don't have a suit jacket. Like, honestly, I don't see the point. I remember going to like there was an award show I went to for neurodivergent, like a neurodivergent award show that I went to where I was up for an award. And everyone there is in like looking like James Bond, black tie, all of that. Every single bloke there was wearing the exact same thing. I'm
all
there,
like penguins.
Yeah, wearing a short sleeve, blue silk. It's like silky type blue, bright blue shirt. And my tats are everywhere. My muscles are squeezing out. Oh yeah, I looked sick. And like literally, I just stood out. Like I was peacocking it. But I didn't do that to stand out. I did that because that's me. And also, I had a pair of Jordans on.
Yeah, there you go. You've got to do it your own way, man.
Hell yeah.
You've got to do it your own way.
And that
couldn't agree more.
That is literally a really, really good way to think about it, is that everyone could do their own thing. My opinions are my opinions. My opinions aren't facts. They're just my opinions. Your opinions are your opinions. I was just a line. That's probably why we're such good friends. And so I think I'm extravagant with the amount of things that I buy in relation to some of the things I was looking at on this program. I'm like, literally, I'm so good. But there's some people that won't buy anything because the one thing that has been made clear to me is what I'm going to say when you blow them trumpets.
Yeah, let me blow them now. Ba, 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 ba.
Buying things doesn't always make you happy. But if it does, then that's fine.
Very good way to wrap up today's episode, my friend. I'm really glad that we've talked about this because there is a lot of nuance to owning things and how they make you feel. Because I need to convince myself that I need another pair of golf shoes again. It's that time of year. But if you have enjoyed this episode, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And if you are any of the folks that have come from Autistic Minds Live and you're still listening after last week's episode, thank you very much for sticking around. It was wonderful. meeting you all. We've had a couple of messages from people that have joined us now. So if you're a new listener, thank you for joining us. And why not go back and check out our little back catalogue, because we've made lots of episodes and some of them are pretty damn good. So
I think like 4.
Hey, 4 is nearly a handful, so I will take that. So, all right, my friend, until next week, always great seeing you, buddy. Love you. Until next time, bye-bye.
Yeah, love you. Bye.